Smooth as silk, easy to play, and with intonation to beat, I totally recommend the YTS-480 for any up-and-coming saxophone player. Check it out. Howdy everybody, my name is Andrew King. We are here at Alamo Music. Don't forget to visit us at alamomusic.com where we have this item and so many more available for your perusing. Today we're going to be looking at the YTS-480. It is an intermediate tenor saxophone from Yamaha, a brand that we know and love here over at Alamo Music, and for good reason. The consistency across the board, the great intonation from all their instruments that we've talked about so far, and the availability is so good. Anywhere you go, everyone is carrying Yamaha, and to have something that's that easily approachable and available makes it a great recommendation to any upcoming student that's looking for a good, intermediate, strong saxophone for a long time. Now, intermediate saxophones are weird. It's just kind of part of the game. They're not as expensive as the professional models, but they are also not as easily accessible as the student model. So it kind of puts it into a weird pocket for recommending it to certain people. I usually save these for people that are an adult that are wanting to get into saxophone or have already played on a student model but aren't going to be taking it as a career, more as a hobby. That's usually a great person for these kind of instruments. Or really good is for a student. Some of the amenities from a 480, such as the YTS-480, come with some very nice things that are available on a professional model without having to pay that price tag, such as the 62 style neck is part of it, where you can actually put in a custom neck. So, and I'll talk about that in a second, which is a really cool idea. The other thing you can do with this instrument is that it has really nice post-to-body construction. So basically, the instrument's super resonant right from the get-go. I found this instrument extremely easy to play, especially up and down the board. My intonation was on point. I put on my new mouthpiece, the Adjust-A-Tone, and it played just as well as I wanted it to. It did everything I was looking for with an intermediate saxophone to begin with. I think this is a great workhorse instrument, especially if you're a student wanting to get something a little more serious, but you're not usually playing tenor saxophone. I think this is perfect for that kind of thing. Usually you're going to be investing yourself into an alto saxophone anyways, so having a nice, really good side tenor saxophone is a great idea for the most part. With this instrument too is the ergonomics as well. I highly recommend the Yamaha series in particular because of the ergonomics. That just makes it so much easier to play. Never mind the playability itself, but just the feeling in the hands of the keys, the way they push down and come back up, the action feels extremely smooth across the board, and that allows you to be very comfortable no matter which one you pick. I really recommend the YTS-480 for anyone. I have kind of bigger hands for the most part, but it's perfect for any kind of student as well. I recommended this to some of my students that are kind of tinier, and they played it great. So it comes out really well. It's really easy in the hands, and I totally recommend it. It also has a high F sharp key, which is something you can always have, especially for students in particular. The instrument also blows very well up into the altissimo register, so that was very welcome. I played it on my Adjust-A-Tone with a 3S D'Addario Jazz Select unfiled reed, and it just blew great. I was able to get a full, nice tone out of it. I do think that on the lower end, it was a little more stuffy than I usually like as far as the kind of projection I want out of that side. But that also has to do with it just coming out of the box. So if you get it from a music store, make sure that the music store has done a checkup on it. That is always recommended for any storefront saxophone store or instrument store in general, just to make sure that everything's working. Shipping happens, so anything can happen with that. And as far as the shipping condition, the box, all the key corks and everything's real stable. So it was shipped in a very nice, pristine condition. Right out of the box, it played great. So fantastic job on Yamaha's part. It just really shows the great QC that goes into these instruments, and I totally recommend it. So let's go ahead and listen to it. Tell me what you think, and we'll see you in a little bit. So what did you think? I really like the high end of this horn. I think intermediate instruments, the simplest way for me to put it is the body style is usually that of a student model, while the parts and everything like the key action, the neck, and all that kind of stuff comes more from a professional side when it comes to like these spectrum of parts and whatnot. But this one just blew straight through. Especially on the high end, I really enjoyed how I sounded on that end. It really gave me a strong tone while not being too thin, and it was just so easily playable. I think that's one of the best reasons to get this kind of horn is if you're just looking for a horn without having to pay like $4,000 to get a seriously decent instrument that's going to last you a long time with good metal, good parts, easily available to repair techs across the country no matter where you go. This is the kind of instrument that you want. It's reliable, straight, and really good as far as having a just always being there when you need it. I do recommend, if you are going to be getting this instrument for sure, checking out, like if you're wanting to take it more seriously, right? Trying out other necks on it. So because it's a Yamaha, they are able to change out their necks for the custom necks. So Yamaha actually makes custom necks like the V1, the G1, the C1. Putting on a V1 neck on this thing is actually really sick. It basically gives you this huge tone out of it that you usually wouldn't get out of an intermediate instrument. So if you put it with the right mouthpiece and you have the proper air support from the player, you know, where all the sound comes from and everything, you actually get a lot out of it, and it's a really good investment. Now, you're not going to get a lot more of the professional amenities that you would get out of, say, like a 62. The 62 overall just has a huge bore on it on the saxophone itself, so you get a huge amount of power out of it, and it's also the 480 I don't think takes it does hit a certain wall at some point when you put it at a certain volume, which for tenor players in particular, that is something you're going to be running into a lot, especially gets more into the jazz kind of world. I think it's a great classical saxophone for sure. It blends really well, easy to get a nice tone on it. As far as like low end, that end, it's just a little stuffy, so it doesn't really open up as much as I would like on a jazz mouthpiece. So with my adjusted tone, I had the baffle raised a little bit. The instrument did have a little stuffiness in the bottom, but the high end just sounded awesome. So I do recommend it for that reason. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Tell me, what is your first saxophone? I do want to know. There's tons of them available out there, and everyone has a different one, which kind of makes this whole thing really cool and special. So it makes everyone's kind of unique. My first tenor was a Yamaha T880. It was awesome, great workhorse, and I still use it to this day professionally, so totally recommend that one too. But thank you guys so much for watching. I totally appreciate it, and have a wonderful day.